Okay, everyone. So here we are. We are now recording, and I am going to focus today on. I'm going to make this smaller, and so I can see what's going on over here. So we are going to focus today on our personal brand. So at the end of this, I will make sure we send everything out, and just like we have in the past, here we are with. We're going to type in this. Begin temporary mode here. So we're going to start completely from scratch. This is a wonderful thing to do. Now, you can also, if you wish, this is a good if you're going to start this and go through these 6 prompts that we're going to walk through. This could be a good place if you wanted to upload your voice print that we created in week 1. So if you have that voice print with your own information, you could include that now. But we're just going to jump right in. And so what we're going to do is the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take a look at our LinkedIn profile. Do you guys know how to download your LinkedIn profile? Well, either way, here's what we're going to do. So if you go to your LinkedIn profile, and when you go to LinkedIn, you might start off here in feeds. But if you click on me up here, your own little me icon up here in the upper right, click on that, click on yourself, and it will bring up your page. Now, over here on the bottom right, it will either say more or resources. If you click on that, you can have this option that says save to PDF. And you can save it to PDF and download it however you want. Okay, so we go to me, click on resources or more. It seems to vary. And then click on save to PDF, and it will save your entire profile in a PDF file. And you can read that and review that. So here's the prompt we're going to use. First, we're going to tell ChatGPT what we want to do. Okay, so we're going to tell it, you are a personal branding strategist helping professionals clarify and strengthen their professional identity. Your goal is to help us understand. Here are the 5 steps we're going to walk through. Okay, let's not do that. Here are the 5 steps we're going to walk through. We're going to analyze our current LinkedIn profile. We're also going to explore my experience and passions. We're going to create a Venn diagram. I'll show you how that works. And then we're going to do some research on market trends so we can better align our single statement. And then we're going to recommend some updates for LinkedIn. Okay. So we're going to do that, and I'm going to upload, and I'm just going to copy and paste one of the profiles I've downloaded. This particular one is from Bill Gates. As far as I can tell, Bill Gates has more followers on LinkedIn than anybody else. So let's take a look at his profile. I reviewed the LinkedIn profile you shared, and here is information about Bill Gates's LinkedIn brand. I couldn't find any Pop-Tart tasters, sorry. Okay, so the brand, what does it say? The profile communicates extreme credibility and authority based on who you are. And you can do this with yourself. Hopefully you'll do this between now and Thursday, the next time we get back together. It talks about what themes, institution building, philanthropy, founder identity, and then also talks about some secondary things it finds. Right? So this is digging in and helping us understand who Bill Gates is, or at least how Bill Gates is presenting himself on LinkedIn. Now, when you do this, you're going to see some things, maybe some things that you like, maybe some things that you don't. It happens. Okay. Here is, there's no narrative or arc. Okay. There's no evolution, no why. So here's some things that we might want to correct in our own profile. Okay. And rate the clarity of the current brand on a scale of 1 to 10. Clarity is a 6.5. So you know what? Bill Gates could improve his LinkedIn profile. I don't think he needs to, but he certainly could. Should we send him this information? See if he does anything. So what do you think about this? Would this be helpful for you guys to understand this?
Yep.
Okay, seeing lots of thumbs up over here. All right. Okay. So now let's dig into the next one. And what we're going to do here is we are going to start asking ourselves some questions. So this next prompt is going to help us identify who we are. So the brand discussion questions. I want to identify my ideal personal brand because I don't want to just create a brand that's generic. I want my brand to be about me. So with this, and I don't think I can expand this any further. So we have a couple of questions that that ChatGPT is going to ask. Some are going to ask about my experience, so it knows what I've done in the past. Um, then it's going to ask me some questions about my passions. What are my passions? What do I enjoy doing? Because let's face it, if I can get a job where I really like what I'm doing, it's going to be a lot more fun. And then the third section is value questions. Now, you don't have to answer any of these, or you can add your own questions if you want, but read through these. And because here's like 12 questions about me, and then there's some audience questions. Who do I most want to help or work with, and what kind of opportunities do I want to attract? So we're going to go through this. Do you have questions about this? I'm going to go through it real quick. All right. So let's go through this. And again, I'm going to send these prompts out. So here's the first question. Answer in plain English. All right. So what problems do I solve better than most people? I don't know. I know my Pop Tarts. Pop Tarts better than most. Um, okay. So is that okay? All right. So we're having a problem here because all right. So ChatGPT got confused. All right. I'm going to start over from the beginning. And I'm going to use my actual profile and answer a little more seriously because obviously ChatGPT is recognizes that I'm messing around with it too much. Sorry, I went too far off the rails. All right, so here we go. I'm going to upload my profile, so you guys are going to get to see more information about me. And because I thought I could use fictitious people, fictitious ideas, and not. So, what does my primary signals you come across as a senior okay, I do that. Secondary, yeah. Overall brand impression, highly experienced enterprise agile coach who delivers measurable results. That's what ChatGPT sees about me now. What themes and expertise? Very strong in certain areas, emerging but not quite there. Okay. And structural observations is so this is just information that it's gleaning from my profile. So now when I go back and I start answering the questions, and I will answer them a little more accurately to see if we can get some better results. All right. So what can I do now? I see the entire process, the entire business process. So that's one of the things I do. What problems do I solve better than others? I see the bottlenecks in business processes. Okay. And so the next question is going to ask me, what do colleagues consistently ask me for help? Um, Creating training and presentations. All right. And I'm just going through these very, very quickly. think about what you would answer. What work have you done that made you feel most proud? Most recently, my AI enhanced 12-week leadership cohort because we saved gobs of money. And when that was done, and what skills have I developed that took years to build? Um, Asking powerful questions, and actively listening. All right, so I just answered 4 questions about my experience. Any thoughts about those 4 questions? All right, so now I'm going to dig into some
Steve, I have a
answering some.
question. I'm sorry if I missed this. Is Leanne.
Yep. Hi.
Pardon me for interjecting, but in case I missed it, did you prompt those 4 questions, or is ChatGPT?
Yes, I have a prompt, and so I typed in. This is the prompt I typed in.
So what? And it just randomly chose those four.
Well, I've asked ChatGPT to ask me these 4 questions about my experience, and I typed in the answers.
Okay.
And then I asked it to type in to ask these questions about my passions, and then these questions about my values. So this is the entire prompt, and you'll get this. And you can adjust these questions too. So if you don't like the questions that it's asking, you can add and update the questions, and then just type in the prompt again.
I see. Okay. So you're giving us a template, but another way would have been just to provide the information outright at the get-go if we were just working on our own.
Yeah, we could just ask. Yeah, I could just tell it here's my experience, here's my passions, here's my values. But I find it helpful, and I would be a little more thoughtful about it. I'd probably set aside an hour to answer these questions. 30 minutes to an hour to answer these questions. Right now, I'm just typing them very quickly for demonstration purposes.
Okay. Oh, this is great. Thank you.
Yeah, but I definitely give them more thought, and you'll get a copy of this. So I'm just jumping through them real quick. So what topics can you talk about for hours without getting bored? Oh, I would say cooking, and of course Pop Tarts, as you guys know. But in this case, I'm not gonna go into the Pop Tarts. I'm just going to go into, let's see. Okay. I'm going to say, oh, talking about agility and AI. There we go. Those are going to be my topics for now. What industry trends really excite me? AI empowering people to do more and not replace people. And for this example, I probably should have just picked 1 or 2 questions from each one. But if you could only work on one type of project forever, what would that be? Um, Using new tech to solve business related problems. I know that's weird, but I do kind of enjoy that. And all right, let's see. One more. Here we go. Another one. What do you wish more people understood about your field? Agility is for everything and not just software. There we go. That's one of the things. Okay. There we go. And again, I'm answering these very, very quickly. And all right, skip these. Let's see if it'll do this. Skip the rest of the questions and just go to the answers. I don't know if it'll do this. All right, there we go. So, so what it's learned about me so far is, um, so it's learned about my general passions. There's some patterns. Here's some information. Early brand signals. based on just this input, this is what it's seeing about me now. I don't know if that's right or wrong. I'll need to dig into it a little bit. But the more thought you put into this, the more option, the higher the likelihood is that ChatGPT or whatever your AI of choice is going to give you something valuable. So hopefully we'll get more and more there. Okay, so it is telling me some things. I kind of like this. All right, so good. All right, so now, so how does this feel?
I really like the key differentiators. I think that could be really valuable.
And I think it really can be because people can see who you are and have a better understanding when they go to your LinkedIn profile.
I think that could actually be really useful too. Again, just kind of from the client perspective, when you all kind of send me that gold star job that you want me to reach out and find the hiring manager on, and I ask for 3 bullet points along with the resume and cover letter that you used when you applied. I think if you combine those key differentiators kind of with that job description in your resume, that could come up with some really solid and interesting bullet points.
What else? Thank you, Amanda.
Um, did I miss the part where you said how we put this back into our LinkedIn profile? Or is that next?
Oh, we're getting there.
Okay, got it.
Yep. Okay. So we're getting there. We're going to do a couple more things. So the next thing that we're going to do, but that's a great question. So the next thing we're going to do is we are going to create a Venn diagram. And a Venn diagram it's you guys may probably already know this. It is a couple of circles, and each circle focuses on one particular area, and then we take a look at where the overlap is. And I'll show you some diagrams, but here I've just asked it, and again, this is a prompt. It says, look, based on our conversation, please create a personal brand diagram. Circle 1 is my experience. Circle 2 is my passions. And circle 3 is market. What you think the market need is. And then for each circle, list 3 to 5 specific items. Now here it's going to tell you what goes in each circle. And I will probably create a PowerPoint template that you guys could use and put this in, but you could put all these in manually. And I'm now going to ask it, please create an actual image of this diagram. ChatGPT is slow. It's slow when it creates images. I don't know. I don't know why. It just is. Every other tool I use to create images is much faster. But here's what it's saying. It's saying my experience, and here's some bullet points for my experience. Identify bottlenecks. I design and deliver high impact training. I ask powerful questions. I translate complex systems, technologies, and workflows into practical action. My passions are agility and AI. All right, that's pretty boring, but I could have typed in a much better answer. Using AI to empower people, not replace them. Applying new tech. Market needs. Now, what are the target audience values implied for? Clear identification of where work is stuck and why. Practical human-centered ways to adopt AI without fear or hype. Yep. Less chaos, more clarity. These are some things it's pulling from me. And where the overlap is and where my brand positioning might land is I help leaders see where work is stuck and use AI and agile thinking to remove friction without losing the human core. Another option is I design human-centered, AI-enabled leadership experiences that turn complexity into clarity and action. Now, let me ask you this. If you were a recruiter or hiring manager and you read one of these statements on my LinkedIn profile, how might that land with you?
I like them because they're very clear. They're simply stated, but they capture a lot.
And I would say I think the middle one is the strongest. 1 in 3 saying you help is kind of a little, I think, a little weak. Not that it's not true, but saying you design, that's you're more responsible. You're not just helping.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's a great point. Okay. So now
I think
this
you're
is going to
giving
help.
yourself, yeah, I was going to say, I think you're giving yourself the perfect tagline too to use on
Yeah,
like,
absolutely. So we're creating a better tagline. So now when people go to my LinkedIn profile, they're going to say, hey, you know what? We need somebody to design human-centered AI enabled leadership experiences. We need that person, as opposed to reading a headline and not having any idea what I really do. Right? And so here's the diagram that it created. And all right, so this isn't great, but so here's where it has the information for the experience, the market needs. I can't. Yeah, it's not even saying what this is. I guess this is my passions, and then this is kind of the center. This is not a very good Venn diagram. So, but this intersection is where I can help people and still be happy doing it. So far, so good.
I really think just from a career counseling perspective, also, this is something probably we should all do just because it's so easy to want to throw jello at the wall when you're applying for something.
Mm.
And I think this could give us all a little pause too to kind of slow down and say, does it make sense?
Absolutely. And so, you know what? Tomorrow I may take some Jello, but maybe I'll keep looking for what I really want. Okay. Um, or maybe I'll take the Jello for 6 months before I start looking again. But it can be very, very powerful. And so and again, the more time and effort you put into answering those questions, I know I went through them very quickly, the better the feedback you're going to get. And you may even do it multiple times. I know I've gone through similar questions multiple times, and because I'm constantly tweaking, I have a hard time leaving well enough alone. All right. So the next one is we're going to dig into our brand statement a little bit, and we're going to ask it to create better brand statements. So Jen, this might align with your thoughts a little bit because we're going to dig in a little bit. And so I'm going to ask it to do, based on my brand positioning statements, please do some deep research. Find market trends, keywords, and who may search for people who meet this brand. And when you have a good understanding of each statement and how it may resonate with people who need what I do, please suggest 3 different options, staying focused on key information. And here are some general guidelines for the brands. So let's see if it comes up with better brand statements, okay? I hope it does. Because we've told it to give it a little thought with it and do a little research. Yes, you do. You need to look up some stuff, dig in a little bit. And we could even give it some deeper guidelines if there's particular areas that you guys want to focus on, because right now this is very generic. So we might say, look at these publications, look at this area. All right. So now what the market is doing right now, it's talking about what's happening. It's giving me some information, keywords to weave in. So hopefully these are keywords that people will search for. Who searches for this? All right. These are the people I might want to resonate with. Common search problems, languages. Okay, I asked it to do a lot of research, and obviously it has, so that's good. Now, okay, here we go. All right, statement 1. I help leaders see where work is stuck. All right. Aha, so here we go again. So Jen, we might want to weave this in there and say, no, we don't help, we do. I help leaders. And use that guy too. So definitely want to get rid of that. So I didn't add any of my prompts to tell it to write better. So um, I turn AI adoption into practical ways of working, less friction, better flow. People stay at the center. How's that sound? All right. Seeing some head shaking, yes. All right. I help organizations move from AI experiments to real execution by fixing the workflow and the habits that make adoption stick. That's pretty good. I might change that to Jen, to your point, instead of saying help, I deliver value by. All right. And so statement 2, the original is I design human-centered AI-enabled leadership, blah, 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 blah. I build, I teach, I design, and it goes in. So now I've got some of these options. I can take these options, I can refine them a little bit. So I had 3 statements. Now I have 9 statements based on some research. How are these feeling? How's this landing with y'all? Okay. Some thumbs up. Jen, Rachel, don't mean to put you guys on the spot, but I'm going to put you guys on the spot.
Yeah, I like it. I think it's active and it brings all the pieces together, which is hard to do when you are the person talking about yourself. It's hard to kind of encapsulate you in one sentence. So I think this is helpful.
I know I enjoy this, and often when I do things like this, I get pissed off. I get angry because and I know when I'm working with coaches or anything, I get angry when I'm forced to accept things that I don't want to. When the reality is not what I want it to be. So
Uh,
um,
hi, hi, Steve. Can I ask a question?
yes, absolutely, Zara.
Hi. Sorry, I'm off mic because I'm still recovering from a flu. But I wanted to be here. But when I look at the original statements, I feel like they're a little bit more succinct than the options. The options are kind of more like in layman's terms.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you were going for?
Um, well, that's a good question. So I asked it to dig in a little bit, and
Mm-hmm.
if to give me some additional options. It doesn't mean that they're
Mm-hmm.
better than
Mm-hmm.
where we started. It just means I have more options to choose from.
Gotcha. Okay.
So
Is
I
it,
could refine these or accept them. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, is it kind of trying to kind of sound like your voice because you've trained it already with kind of what we did in session 1 or session 2? Is it then trying to really sound like you with those statements, I'm assuming, as part of our prompt?
Yeah, if we upload the voice prints, and
Mm-hmm.
sorry, I don't think you were here for week 1. Um, but if I haven't sent you the prompts for the voice print, please let me know, and I'll make sure you get
No,
those. And also, there's a video out there.
I listened to the recording, so I remember.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. So one, you could upload those. I didn't do that for this session because I wanted it to be generic. And to the point Rachel made earlier, we may not want to use these exactly, but it gives us a good place to start. So now we can refine it and tweak it just slightly to make it our own.
Okay, got it.
I feel like these would be really good jumping off points as well to kind of give you some ideas about content for LinkedIn posts or small articles as well to kind of stay active and relevant. And potentially even having other people sharing your content out there.
Absolutely. And if that's something that we want to dig into, um, let me know, and maybe we can do it one more session next week. All right. So next, dun dun dun. Now we're going to ask for the recommendations on my LinkedIn profile. Okay. So now ChatGPT is going to tell me what I should do with my LinkedIn profile. All right. So I'm just asking it now. Compare my current LinkedIn profile to the target brand we identified. Ask me to paste my favorite brand statement. Okay. So I'll have to pick one of those. And then what should I do in my about section, experience descriptions, so forth. So let's see. Oh, and here's the prompt. And again, we'll send this to you. And again, you can tweak this slightly. All right, perfect. Before I compare, all right. So which of the brand statements should we use? Azar, which brand statement do you like best?
Let's see here. Everyone is moved from chaos to clarity. I designed certain in Asian the complexity. I like the statement two, the original one. I design
Okay.
human-centered AI leadership. Yeah.
Jen liked that one too. We're going to use that one. All right, here we go. That's the one I pasted in there. Thank you. All right, great choice. I think ChatGPT would have told me that for anything I pasted in. All right, so here's some examples that I could do. Goal, shift from a highly accomplished enterprise agile leader to the person leaders call when AI, complexity, and execution collide. Okay, so I might want to change my goal a little bit. So in my about section, recommended section, and here it's just going to make some recommendations on what I should do across the board. So it's going to go through each section one by one, differentiate why, close. Now I'm not inviting people, right? So I need to end with some clarity there. I keep forgetting to add my call to action in my LinkedIn profile. So I need to add that. Um, Experience descriptions. I need to work in some different things, skills and endorsements. So here's a lot of stuff I have. Content themes. So it's going to give me some recommendations to upload to. Okay, it's quite a bit. So that's where we get to the final step here. And after these updates, you're right. So that's what it should tell me when these updates are done. So, how is this feeling?
I have a question. If you go up, I think a little bit, you said something about a call to action.
Mhm.
Can you talk more about that?
Okay, so one of the things in my profile is you have your about section in your LinkedIn profile. Where is it? Here it is. My about section. I don't really have a strong call to action. And it's telling me I need to tighten that up, or it's making that suggestion. Right. So right now I just say, want to connect? Hey. Right. So maybe we could make that tighter.
Okay, thanks.
There we go. Okay. What else? What else you guys thinking? Okay. Oh, good. Kemi, I see your thumbs up. So you're feeling a little better.
Yeah, with this one, thank you. Um, but I still need to catch up with the previous classes that we took. So I guess I have to go and watch the videos.
All right, and I'll make sure all the videos are there.
Mhm.
Apologize for week two video not getting up there. I
So,
was, yeah. Go ahead.
Steve, hi, it's Zara again. I spent a lot of time on my LinkedIn, and this is quite, I love it. I love the experience, need, and the market, like all those three, which I didn't really do. But I've gotten good feedback on my LinkedIn profile. The part that I feel very frustrated by is having to write articles and post them on LinkedIn to be relevant. It seems that's the only way. It's not my personality. I'm not a writer. And I don't know if there's any ways to get around that. Um, I don't like having to write to be relevant. I think that I'm a really good employee. I've done great work, and I don't feel like I have to become a communication specialist in order to prove that I'm a good potential employee. No.
And you know what? And that makes a lot of sense. I don't post on LinkedIn nearly as much as I should, or nearly as much as people ask me to. So I'm with you. The only advantage to posting a lot on LinkedIn is if I wanted to find leads. I'm not convinced that recruiters are searching for people or are going to find you because you're posting more, but potential customers are going to find you. So I don't know that you really have to post a lot on LinkedIn. I think there are some advantages to it. It's nice to, when I look for people, I want to see that somebody is communicating on LinkedIn a little bit with others. And one of the things when I'm hiring people, one of the things I do look for is, gee, is Amanda promoting other people? I really like to see that, and those are the people that will jump up on my list when I'm hiring. And now I've never been a recruiter, but I end up interviewing lots of people, and if I get three or five people to interview, it's like this is the one I want to talk to, someone who is promoting others. But you may not need to. You don't need to be a LinkedIn influencer.
And promoting others, you mean like liking their posts, or do you mean by reposting? How do you do that?
Well, sometimes I like their posts. Sometimes I post like if I see one of Amanda's posts and I like it, I might comment on it. I might say, "Hey, everybody,
Okay.
Amanda is hosting this event. Please,
Mm-hmm.
you might want to attend it." Things of that sort.
I get it. Okay.
Hi, Rachel.
Hi. I followed all this, but I have more of a philosophical question.
Mhm.
Maybe you and Amanda can tackle it together. For those of us who had a niche and now that niche is gone, and so we are rebranding ourselves to and applying to multiple jobs. Obviously, we can tailor our cover letters, we can tailor our resumes, but our LinkedIn profile is there. Whether we applied to a writing position, a communications position, a lab bench scientist position, our LinkedIn profile has to stay the same. So, do you have suggestions on how to showcase that we can do these variety of jobs that we're applying to while still being experts in the fields that we're experts in?
That's a big question.
Yeah.
That's a big
I said it was
question.
philosophical. I gave you a heads up there.
And Amanda, and I'm dying to hear your input, but so I struggle with that myself. And so when we started this, I mentioned that my profile shows multiple different expertise in different areas, as opposed to this is the one thing I do better than anybody else. Um, because that's one of the areas I struggle with. So if you read through some of the comments that ChatGPT was saying, it's like my brand isn't really clear because I'm trying to cover these different areas. I don't know the right answer. I don't know if I should. I'm going to focus my efforts on my AI leadership and my ability to help companies who 95% of all AI pilots fail. I know how to get those 5%. I know how to help you become that 5% that's successful because I've done that not with AI, but I've done it with other things multiple times. I've been doing that for 15 years. Really good at implementing digital transformation. So now AI is just the new thing. Transformation still. So I need to get that message clearer. However, I still have, if you look at my profile, one of the initials at the end of it says SPC6. If somebody wants me to do agile coaching, that's what SPC6 is. So I kind of sneak that in there. And I took that out of my profile and then I added it back in, and I've gotten like 25 hits from recruiters because I had that there. So that's not really what I want to do anymore, but it's still there, right? So maybe sneak in some of the credentials where you can, but focus on what you really want, and that's philosophical, I'm not a LinkedIn expert. I don't have that answer. Hi, Amanda. You're shaking your head, and then I see we have a couple questions. We'll get to you guys in just a second.
Oh, Steve, I was gonna add to that if you don't mind.
Yeah, please jump right in.
Yeah, I was gonna say that I have like, for example, I'm kind of, an expert in grants management. I've done that for 16 years. But along the way, I've done so many other things. And because I'm also applying to different types of roles, I try to show that I'm an expert in one, but I have a variety of experiences that lead me to be credible in those other jobs that I'm applying for. So I use the about section to really hone that in. And then what I've tried to do is in each experience, I have like 3 or 4 areas, or let me just say three areas that I'm thinking that I could be good in. And so in each of those job descriptions, I've tried to make sure those 3 things are clear each time if I can. So I do that in the about section and then in my job. And so I've done that in the whole entire thing so that LinkedIn can stay as is for all those different jobs that I'm applying. I don't know if that's helpful. So that was it.
I think that's very helpful. Thank you, Azara. David?
Yeah, my question is for LinkedIn, are we trying to make ourselves more likely to come up in a search, or are we trying to be some LinkedIn profile that someone would refer to after they've already seen your application and your application lists your LinkedIn profile?
I think a little bit of both.
Okay.
All of the
So,
above.
and that's why when I was asking it to refine things is to do some research and look for keywords. So I could integrate those keywords. Now, there are some things that we could do. When we're creating that, we could dig in and update the prompts to say, hey, you know what? Focus really deeply on keywords for this type of position. So we can add some of that. So it could make some of those recommendations deeper if we wanted to. You could also just tell ChatGPT to act as an ATS, and just go through and take a look at my LinkedIn profile and see if you can match an ATS to these 6 job descriptions. That might get real convoluted though.
Okay, great. Thanks.
What else? My dogs are barking, so I'm going to put on my headset. I'm going to be listening. I'll be right here. So, what else? Are we good? Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to send everything out to everybody. I'll make sure that we get the recording this time, and for the recording for 2, and then we'll see you guys on Thursday. You guys will test it and see how we go. Okay.
I think we need to play with it for sure. But thank you.
right.
Lots of food for thought, Steve. That's